Hello, everybody. Welcome to this customer spotlight. My name is Scott. I'm one of the Thrive L&D Impact Managers, and I'm very excited to be joined today by Ronnie Clark from British Airways. I've been working with Ronnie over the last 12 months at the workshops. We were delivering the mentoring session only 2 weeks ago over in London and Nottingham. Um, Ronnie, quick question for you before I get to introduce yourself. Can you remember when we first worked together?
I can. We did a similar thing to this maybe, I don't know, 18 months ago, all around AI and learning, and that's where we first met. I don't think you were working for Thrive then. I think you were another customer. But yeah,
Yes.
funny how
I
times
was.
have changed.
I know the tables have turned, eh?
Yeah, literally. But yeah.
So today, as I said, we're going to talk about everything Thrive mentoring, but we're also going to talk about the amazing user case, which is called the Wings program at British Airways. So what I'm going to do now is just hand over to Ronnie. Ronnie, would you like to introduce yourself, your role, and let's start talking about kind of your use case at Wings.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Ronnie Clark. I look after our skills academy as well as our leadership and talent development learning at BA. So that is pretty much everything non-mandatory learning, all of the kind of career pathways and journeys that our colleagues need to take and use to grow within their roles and get to the next stage of their careers. So as part of that, I was having multiple conversations with different stakeholders around, a whole swathe of different initiatives that we were working with, and I was speaking to our head of marketing who wanted a pathway on some career development stuff over in the marketing space. But we just got talking, and it turned out that she was also the head of our Wings network, which is our Women in Leadership group. And she was kind of saying that, oh yeah, we're really keen to do this mentoring program. And I just happened to mention that Thrive had a new feature coming that could maybe support the launch, and then it all kind of spiraled from there because they were really excited about the platform and the capability that it would give us in terms of that skills based matching approach. And yeah, we pulled something together really quickly, and I think we were the first one of Thrive's customers to really use the product and embed the functionality into a program. And that was back in March. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind since then, but a really good product, really good showcase of what's possible, and really good collaboration with you guys over at Thrive as well. So we've been very lucky.
First, to dig out your campaign video. So what I'm going to do now is just flick that on quickly, just make sure everything's working. That's your tune, Ronnie. Who chose that?
Did you know what it was? I was thinking the exact same thing as it was playing. It was you guys, Thrive. You made that video for us, and I was thinking at the same time that your all of your videos always have really good music to them. So I love it. Yeah, really gets you going. So
That's great feedback for our content and marketing team. I'm sure they're smiling.
yeah.
Ronnie, Ronnie, I'm going to take you through, as I said, a series of questions. We've started to look at the use case already, but I tell you what, let's go now to talking about skills. So you've got the traditional, when with mentoring programs, you've got the traditional kind of manual matching process, but you actually went with automation around skills and had a skills framework in place. So could you tell me a little bit more around that and the work behind it?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm sure many companies like us have tried to do mentoring programs in the past, and have probably had kind of varying levels of success with those programs. The problem that we've always found with mentoring programs done in kind of more of a manual sense is that the matches that are made are based on very little. Maybe, you've got a coordinator like we do who is the person doing all the work behind the scenes and is matching people based on who they think would be a good fit, because they've met one person over here and now they've met someone over there, and there could be a connection there. But yeah, that kind of approach is very difficult to scale. It means that our mentoring programs are quite small, typically, or were quite small, and it meant that the matches were kind of based on very little. So that's why the Thrive mentoring really appealed to us, because that ability to base it on skills, requirements, and areas of expertise where people wanted to both share their skills and where mentees wanted to develop specifically was really important to us, and it made the program a lot easier to create and scale and push out to a large audience. But yeah, the skills, like kind of taxonomy element of the program, was definitely our biggest challenge, and not so much in the sense of getting our stakeholders to buy in. I think they all kind of really believed in it from the start. There was just more a lack of understanding because it was such a new feature. They didn't really understand how it worked, and what kind of matches would be created out of a skills based matching approach. So there was a lot of work up front, kind of having to explain that to some of our stakeholders and really get their buy-in in that sense. Thrive, our customer success managers, Georgina and Ian, came in and did a great kind of workshop with our stakeholders to kind of explain what it was all about, how it worked, and do a much better job than I had been doing, because if I'm honest, I was completely new to it as well. So I didn't have the knowledge required to explain it properly. But yeah, then once we got all of the stakeholders' heads around it, it was a case of defining 10 key skills that would be important for this Wings program, our Women in Leadership program. And it wasn't difficult, but there were lots of different opinions. And, at one point we had 50 key skills, and then it was kind of about defining them down. So a lot of conversations were had. We were using Copilot to really transcribe and analyze those conversations, and really diving in and getting it to analyze the skills that were being described at their kind of core level. So I guess for me, that's a top tip. And we really created this program. Well, I think the request came in January, and the feature wasn't live in the platform until the start of March. And then we wanted to go live by International Women's Day, which was kind of midway through the month of March. So we were doing a lot of work in the background on the skills taxonomy in those upcoming months, and then it was a bit frantic to get it all into the platform and built. So I think my top tip for anyone doing this would be to kind of really spend that time up front defining the skills, making sure they're exactly what everyone wants the program to be about and be focused on. Because if you do that, that's the hard bit. The rest of it in the platform, building it simple, really easy, really intuitive to use, but getting those skills right from the start is the important bit. So yeah, definitely spend your time defining and discovering what those skills are.
No, completely agreed. I've worked with skills over the years, and I know trying to create a skills taxonomy can take a lot of time. But like you were saying, don't make it complicated. You need 5 to 10 skills max, and keep it like that. And if you do the work up front, the rest of it is, as they say, quite easy. Okay. My next question, then, we're going to talk about building your program and the partnership you have with Thrive as well. But before we start with that, I'm just going to show your platform. So if you just give me a couple of seconds, let me just look at your platform up. Okay, so welcome to Wings. So Ronnie, talk me through the relationship and talk me through the build, the support you had as well from Thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So we've been working with Thrive for the last 4 years. We use it as our kind of platform for skills-based learning and leadership development, talent, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a platform that's really embedded into the organization already for our leadership head office kind of audience. So yeah, to make that jump to mentoring, we already had an audience who were really comfortable with the platform, but obviously this was a new feature, so we had to be really clear in what we were asking our colleagues to do. So what you're looking at the moment is a really clear comms on what the skills are that we want them to analyze themselves on, what the three levels mean, and then how to use the platform. So yeah, all really clear comms that we work with Thrive to define and pick at, from the start. Then obviously you've got the mentoring program. I don't know, Scott, if you want to try and pick a mentor, I think that's quite cool. See if you can get a match.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
So obviously Scott here is picking the skills that he's interested in. And if he rates himself at his current skill proficiency and where he wants to be, hopefully he'll get a good match in a second. I think this is really cool to see because it didn't really click in my head and a lot of my stakeholders' heads until they saw this work. It's almost like Tinder for mentoring.
Let's
It's the only way that I could kind of explain it to people. And then I said that, and then people got it, and they were like, "Okay, great." So yeah, you've got some matches here, and what you're actually showcasing is maybe one of my best practices and biggest tips that I learned from using the platform. What we've seen in the data is that the mentors who have added a profile picture, have added a bio as to who they are and what skills that they have, like this one, are the mentors that have been chosen the most. So at the top there, some of Scott's top matches there were actually mentors that didn't have that, which is a shame because we really did try to get everyone to do that as part of the setup. But yeah, there's always going to be a few that don't have time. So yeah, what we've seen and what my top tip would be is launch to your mentors at least 2 weeks before you launch to mentees, to enable them to have time to go into the platform, set up their profiles, set up their bios, their images and stuff, because what we found is that anyone that has done that are the ones that are always picked more consistently. Now, what Scott's showing you is some of the development additional resources that we've been very kindly given by Thrive to support the program. So luckily you had a content pack all about women in leadership. It was almost like you knew we were going to ask for this. So loads of great resources in there with materials on things like personal branding and stuff like that. So a bit of a guide to what you can get out of the program. So I think I felt we were very lucky to get this material from you guys. You very kindly gave it to us.
A big shout out to our content team as well, who put a lot of work into designing these use case packs as well. So Ronnie, beautiful landing page. So the mentoring block sits within a Thrive space. I just want to go back a page. So let's just go back to here. And then we can just talk a little bit more about the subpages as well. So you had additional resource as well. So do you want to just talk through your mentor and your mentee resource as well?
Yeah, of course. So obviously the role of a mentor is different to a mentee. So lots of different materials to support both of those journeys. As part of the wider Wings program, we work with a company called Albright, and they held some webinars for both our mentees and mentors, and these are hosted. The recordings are hosted directly on the page, as you can see. I love that feature that the videos are able to be embedded directly into a page, and you can just play them like any kind of other homepage. That's something that I think I've been badgering Georgina and Ian for years about. I think that's so nice that you don't have to click into something
Yeah.
and then be taken to an external link. And yeah, that's what I kind of love about Spaces in general, that ability to surface content directly onto the pages. So yeah, just a real collection of resources that would enable both the mentors and mentees to get the best out of the scheme. And we've seen good kind of engagement with all of the materials on the platform. So that's brilliant to see.
Well, let's keep focused on engagement. So let's look at impact and results. So tell me a little bit more about your success metrics on the back of this program since you launched in April.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm completely honest, our measures of success probably weren't as clearly defined as they maybe should have been. So again, another top tip: make sure you've got those
Lessons
defined from
learned.
the start, and what you want, people within these schemes to achieve and do by the end of it. Because I think the way that we set it up and at the time at which we took to set it up very quickly, I mean, we didn't consider that too much. The real measure of success was how many matches can we get, which is a pretty poor measure of success, really, if I'm honest. I know that. I put my hands up as a L&D professional, but the turnaround on this was pretty quick, like I say. So yeah, not the best measure of success. But what we've been really impressed by, and probably when you hear the numbers, you might think, oh, that's quite low, is that we've seen about 15% of our colleagues that have completed a mentoring program or have completed the mentoring program have come back into the platform and increased one of their skills, their skill proficiencies by at least one level. Now, 15% sounds really low. I know you're probably all thinking, yeah, that's not that great. But we are really happy with that because we didn't actually ask colleagues to do that. There was no prompt from us to come back in and reanalyze your skill proficiency level. So the fact that colleagues are doing that showcases to us two things. One, that the behavior of skills tracking is really important to our colleagues and they like using the platform for it. But two, also that they've learned something on the program. So that is a really positive story for us, and one that over the next couple of months we need to do a bit more diving into to learn more about what kind of enabled that skill increase and skill proficiency growth. So yeah, I think overall in terms of engagement, we were up at about 70 matches, which is really positive from the audience of about 100 colleagues that we had in scope for this program. So yeah, good engagement, but as an L&D professional, and I always want to be kind of striving for that deeper analysis, but haven't quite got there yet. So definitely, make your life easier by defining that from the start.
Just to finish off on the feedback piece, what have participants saying? What have they said since the program's finished or is currently running, for example, that kind of after feedback?
Yeah, lots of qualitative feedback that we've had just through conversations and feedback forms and things like that. The two kind of main themes are one, that the platform was really easy and enabled those kind of connections to take place, and then the second piece of feedback was more about the quality of the matches that people have been able to make. So with this program specifically, a lot of our mentor community or audience were kind of head office, senior management, senior leadership type roles. And then the mentee audience was a lot of kind of operational colleagues, so cabin crew, colleagues that work in the Heathrow, Terminal 5, even engineering colleagues. So kind of two worlds that really don't mix that often. But what the platforms enabled them to do is match based on those skills. So it doesn't matter where they work. they're able to connect with someone that they've never have met otherwise, probably in their day-to-day role. So yeah, really positive feedback about the kinds of connections that were made. And I think the long-term goal is to really check in on these connections over the next couple of years, and hopefully we'd like to see some career growth and mobility between areas so people can try new things. I think we haven't seen any of that yet. Obviously, it's been a couple of months, but that's the ultimate goal, and that's what we'll be checking back on over the next couple of years. So fingers crossed.
Fantastic. So we're coming close to the end now. What's next? So I know from my colleagues that you've already got 2 more use cases in the pipeline. So tell me more about those use cases.
Yeah. So this program, like I said, it was pulled together very quickly, and it was really about testing the functionality of the platform, making sure it worked, making sure it led to good matches, making sure that it was easy to use. And we've really proven that use case with the Wings community and the Wings program. But the next 2 that we've got in our sights and that we're looking to do in the next couple of months are all around our emerging talent colleagues. So these are kind of apprentices, grads, year in industry placement students. And we have a massive community of those kind of guys at BA. So 2 opportunities for them. Typically the apprenticeship programs are about, apprentices and grad programs are about 2 to 3 years. So we're looking at having a program where they mentor each other. So our kind of 3rd and final year apprentices and grads mentor the year 2s, and the year 2s mentor the year 1s and stuff like that, which will be a really interesting one and a good way for them to kind of make connections, friends, and really grow within the business and learn from each other. But then another program that we're going to look to introduce in the next couple of months, which is the one I'm really excited about, is a kind of reverse mentoring scheme. And this is where we'll take kind of our real high potential emerging talent colleagues, an audience of about 20 to 30 of them, and connect them with senior leaders across the business. So we're hoping to go all the way up to our management committee, which are the managers within the organization that sit just below the CEO. We'd love to have the CEO, Sean Doyle, involved as well, and he was actually keen when we had discussion, but I don't think he's going to have time for it, unfortunately, which is a shame, but maybe we can work something out. But yeah, in this program, our emerging talent colleagues will actually mentor our senior leaders. So there's that kind of reverse mentoring going on, and it'll be brilliant for them to learn from each other. So that's a really exciting one. We've got lots of buy-in across the organization. All of our kind of senior leaders are really excited by it and keen to get involved. So yeah, watch your space. Maybe we'll have to come back and do another one of these once we've done that, and I'll have a really good kind of measure of success for all of the whole program. So we can talk about it in a bit more detail. But other than that, we're looking to embed these kind of mentorship programs into the work we're doing with skills. So at BA, we have 50 key skills that everyone within the business has to kind of develop themselves against. And we're aiming to embed mentorship programs into each one of those skills, learning pathways in all spaces, so people can connect with experts from within that specific skill range. And then other than that, since we've launched this Wings program, we've had people kind of say, oh, like really, I was on the program for the Wings thing. I'm quite keen to do this, but with my department, but I want to link with another department who I like the way they're doing something. So I think one that we're in discussion with is around between marketing and brands with our networks and alliances directorate. So kind of 2 different directorates that do very different kind of roles and things within the business, but they like the way each other are doing things, so they want a way to connect them. So this is one thing. That's another mentoring program that we're looking to explore.
We are on standby, ready to go, Ronnie, to help you out with those use cases.
I'll need it, please.
should we keep that going as well? So before we disembark from this session, I just want to say a quick thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for taking the time out to talk about your Wings program. Looking forward to working with you again in the future. And if anyone is interested to discuss their use cases, their mentoring use cases, or to understand Thrive mentoring, just speak to your account director. They're on standby as well, waiting to hear your use cases. So let's wrap it up there, Ronnie. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining the session today. Take care.